Thank you so much.
Nice.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'll now call our June 3rd Public Safety and Community Health meeting to order. First up, we are going to have an update from Spokane Fire Department with Chief Oberg.
Good afternoon, committee. Jacoby, do we have my,
Not in the folder, but I will bring it up if it's in the packet.
thank you.
She's late. Yeah, we moved her at the end.
Are you going to have to advance it, or is it going to be a slideshow?
I will advance.
Okay, perfect. All right, we'll start with our staffing report. Our relief pool is holding pretty steady at 22. Want to report we did have our Battalion Chief Assessment Center last month, which got us all 5 candidates past the Battalion Chief Assessment Center, so we do have a new 2-year list, of which we will have some pretty soon promotions off of that just due to some upcoming retirement, or one upcoming retirement. We'll also be doing our Battalion Chief Academy. This is a new agreement with SAFO in that if we send people that have tested Battalion Chief, are successfully on the list, if we put them through an academy, then they are able to work out of grade as an acting BC during sick and vacation. That's going to be a pretty significant savings in overtime dollars for us. Right now, SAFO has been a closed shop as far as overtime, so the 8 battalion chiefs were the only ones that could work any overtime for any vacancies of the other 7. So a really great move forward in making sure that we've got not only professional development for our upcoming battalion chiefs, but are able to get a little bit better handle on that overtime. Just wanted to report, because of the relief pool, our mandates are down 87% from the same pay period last year. And right now, mandates are accounting for actually less than 1% of our overtime budget. You can scroll down, Jacoby. So speaking of overtime, we're at 19% lower than we were same time last year. This pay period is the end of a FLOSSA pay period. I'll continue to say, because it reminds me, as well as hopefully reminding you guys, that FLOSSA, our overtime, will be varying pay period to pay period. The beginning of a FLOSSA pay period, it looks like we're doing fabulous. The end of a FLOSSA period, we're actually catching up, so you kind of see these spikes. But it's really that trend line in between the 2 pay periods that comprise an overall FLOSSA pay period. So we are about 6% behind where we should be for this time of year. We're 44% of our annual OT budget, but we're 38% of the way through the year. Do want to point out, for us, year-to-date, special event coverage is about $16,000 in overtime. That we have not historically specifically budgeted for special event overtime. We are doing that going forward so that we really do see what it costs for us to be part of the public safety equation when we have special events in the city. Just looking at our May overtime metrics, was just a little bit slower month in May from the previous 30 days. Our first due performance was slightly increased at 68.7%. Our overages, which is when we are over where we want to be for our performance measure benchmarks, was decreased, which is good. Our total response time is holding steady, as is our dispatch and turnout. So some May of 24 overdose data. We had 89 patients treated with Narcan. That's not necessarily how many doses of Narcan that they were treated with, but how many patients. Of those, 46 were transported to the hospital. I am really delighted to report that we do now have 2 patients that we have admitted into the medicated assisted treatment. So up until this point, I had told you that even though it started in, I believe, March or April, we hadn't had anybody, so we were sitting at 2 now. So that is that's great news. And if you have any extended questions on the MAT, I do have Ann. Ann will be reporting on a briefing paper, and she would be much better to answer those questions. Moving on, this isn't going to look any different. This is the heat map for overdoses for May, so we still obviously see the downtown corridor as our main hot zone. Just some ongoing initiatives that we're working with. The CARES BRU expansion. We're spending a lot of time and energy in what that looks like for both of the BRU arm and the CARES arm. Continue to take up a lot of both Ann Raven's time and Sarah Foley, our CARES manager, as well as myself. We're continuing to put a lot of effort into our advanced life support planning. We've recognized for some time, that our paramedic staffing, we've got some issues with some sustainability as far as the age of our paramedics and the requirements and the cost of how we get our members to paramedics. So don't have all of the answers yet, but we're spending a lot of operational time and energy in looking at that planning. Continue to work on our data dashboarding, both through the Washington Department of Health, the Regional Health District, and the new OD mapping. So I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but maybe by June we'll have some tentative dashboarding that we can actually bring to this body and show you what directions we're going. As I reported last month, nurse navigation, we're still on track to start that June 18th. I don't think that within June we'll see significant impact from that, but by midsummer, I'm hoping to see some significant changes in our calls for service because of the nurse navigation. I already talked about the Battalion Chief Recruit Academy, or Battalion Chief Academy, and then we're getting ready to start up wildland season. So when that starts up, some of our fuels mitigation program obviously will go on the back burner, but Chief Dahl and Nick Jeffries are planned as soon as wildland season is over. We've got a pretty good plan that's going to get us clear through December to continue to spend some of the grant money and continue on with the fuels reduction program. I'll let you guys read, these are in your packet, I'll let you guys read some kudos, but I do want to point out the Spokane Fire Department, along with some of our members, won some Excellence in EMS Awards of the Year. So the Fire Department won the Agency of the Year, and then we had 3 members that won some specific awards for EMS excellence in the county. Any questions? Yes, sir.
On those awards, who gives those awards out?
So that is through the EMS Council, which Ann Raven is our newly elected chair of the county EMS Council. So they give those awards out. They vote on them as a board, and then they give those out.
Wonderful. So they're county-wide
Yes.
awards. Very cool. The other question I had was on the patients treated with Narcan. You said it wasn't necessarily one dose. What's the average amount of doses that we give to somebody in that crisis?
Ooh, I'm going to ask Ann to come up here and help me with some of that. I don't know that we're going to give you a good
Yeah.
number on that, but
So this is truly an anecdotal answer, but honestly, often 2 doses, often 1 intranasally and then, or intramuscularly, and then 1 IV. If they have not responded, we would switch to IV.
Okay. How does the intramuscular application work?
So that's just an injection, usually of 2 milligrams of naloxone, and just into any large muscle, deltoid, thigh. And it takes about 2 to 3 minutes for onset. So it's quicker to give either IM or IN upon first approaching the patient than to start an IV. If they have not awoken by the time an IV is started, then we'll usually go ahead and give the IV dose.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so is there, the version of Narcan that we give out most often, is it the nasal version?
It is the intranasal. We do, however, also, we can provide and do have kits available that include the IM dosage as well.
Okay. But I'm wondering, is it, because you said it's just anecdotally, the average is around 2, and usually the second one is intermuscular. So is there something more effective about the intermuscular? Is it a better just outcome product?
No,
Is that why you
the
switched to
second
it?
one is usually IV. I'm sorry if I
Oh.
misstated that. The first one is IM, and it does take a little bit longer for the IM as well as the IN, just because it has to absorb through either the mucosal membranes or the muscle. But not exceptionally longer. They both have an onset time about 2 minutes, but you can sometimes see it stretch out to 4 minutes.
Well, I guess maybe the purpose of my question is try to understand why not just give a second dose of the nasal, and
Sometime-
why go to something else? I'm just wondering.
Sometimes we do.
Okay.
And we do provide, when, at least for the leave behind kits that we provide, in the kit, it comes with a 2-dose, so 2 intranasal or 2 IM.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
So then after, we've helped save somebody in that state, we leave some behind for them to have on their own.
We do. Every engine, battalion chief, and other fire department unit carries leave behind naloxone now, yes.
Wonderful. I would be curious to know if we could know the actual amount, if that was possible, of this is the average amount, maybe it's 2.3, but then we leave 2 behind, so it's 4 doses per incident, I guess, or even when we're administering them. I'm just curious on that. And again, I know that that's not capable right now, but if we could follow up, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That isn't data we collect right now, but it's possible to do that, sure.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for the heat map, the overdose data. That's great to hear about, BRU, and then also the collaboration happening with the health district. That's wonderful news. I had a question on the kudos page a little bit about the 12th and Perry Pride Crosswalk, and I know we're going to hear from SPD later. But can you just kind of walk us through kind of what happened and what that response looked like?
Yeah, I will to the limit of my
Yeah.
knowledge. So, yeah, I mean, we were called by PD just to assist with cleanup, so I think we got there pretty quickly and were able to make an impact. But beyond that, I'm not sure what else. Yeah.
It was nice to see the kudos up there.
PD called and we came and we were glad to help with it.
Great. Thank you.
I guess I'm wondering what cleanup, I mean, are you like scrubbing the
Yeah,
ground?
yeah. We both washed it down and then scrubbed it up with some of our brooms that we
Is
carry
that
on
a typical
rigs.
activity of the fire department?
It's typical if PD calls and asks us for an assist to come and assist, but for that, no.
Okay. It just seems like in other departments, that would be a strength of theirs, and SFD has other strengths and play to people's strengths.
I think this was a time of the call issue. I don't think there were other departments available at the time of the call, if I'm correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it was around midnight, my understanding, act of vandalism, and we're seeing the state law now go into effect this week. We'll be talking more about this again, regards to hate crime. One other item that I was curious about was, and this came up earlier today in our Finance Administration Committee meeting, about encampments and brush fires. And I did a ride along last Friday, and just seeing the number of calls, the concerns you do have in East Central, still a lot of heavily wooded areas by Underhill Park. And I think as we start to head into a very dry season, I think trying to look at some data related to kind of the response to those encampments and those fires would be very helpful.
Absolutely, we definitely track that, and since historically in my tenure with the fire department, on those type of fires, we have had a slightly different take on them depending on the season, from a warming fire to so we have had probably less prevention around a warming fire when we are having significantly cold temperatures. Then right now we will definitely start to take a different take on what those fires and extinguish them much more readily.
So, I mean, I guess that's a little concerning in the sense that you're sort of giving people permission to light fires, and they're going to continue to do that, repetitive behavior over and over again. And so why not move them along to a shelter site or some other location rather than kind of give them permission for a fire?
Yeah, Councilmember, I don't disagree with that. I think when we, as the fire department, have not seen or had an option, and especially when were significant calls for service, it became untenable for us to respond to what we knew were true emergencies. So some of it was really trying to make a calculated assessment on where our resources would be best spent.
Are you open to the use of technology to try to reduce the need for resources to identify where those places are that can be addressed?
Of course, yeah, yeah, of course.
Would love to chat more with you about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. If I can go just one more back on Narcan, on the dosing. I just want to be real, we'll absolutely report what we give. I just want to caution us on that there are so many entities that have and give that I don't want us to think that we have a false sense of what our solution that we're applying is, or a false sense of what the problem is by counting a Narcan dose. So we're happy to report that, but I'll continue to kind of to make the argument of that is not telling us everything.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, and I know Chief Lundgren is out today, but I urge you to check out his reports in our packet. But we are going to have Major Olson come up, talk about SPD implementation on automated traffic safety cameras. Hello.
Good afternoon, council members, council president. I'm confirming, Jacoby, you're the clicker. I'm not.
You've got the clicker, the black
Oh, there it is.
clicker. and it's
You
down
have the
button.
power.
All right. So I was asked some questions about photo enforcement. I'm going to go really quick down this because I know there might or might not be questions. So we'll see what happens when I do this. Is there any?
It's usually that down button.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I hold it up, pushing either one.
We're frozen. Hold on one second.
Okay. There we go. So just one slide of history, so we're not wasting a lot of time there. Started in 2008 as a city council initiative. I did the legwork on it, did some initial research, came back with a white paper. It was voted upon to proceed. We passed a resolution on how the money is spent. Then an ordinance was passed on authorizing us to do it. And then the RFP to select a vendor, which took about a year. From beginning to end, it was about a 2-year process to get this thing up and running. We started off with 4 approaches. There were 2 at Francis and Division, one at Sprague and Brown, and another one at Mission Hamilton. And those site selections were based on the crash data and have been there since. I'll try the down one. There we go. Currently, we have 15 red light cameras monitoring 10 different intersections. You can have a camera, obviously, from 2 different approaches. That's why there's more cameras than intersections. One camera can cover up to 4 lanes of travel. It's like on Division, you can catch 4 lanes with just one camera. And I think there's actually 5 lanes there when you count the turn lanes. So there's 2 cameras there, but they still only charge us for 1 approach on that. So we've added to that, obviously expanded our program. And we have 8 speed cameras monitoring 1 high school and 6 elementary schools throughout the city of Spokane. Again, there is that list. That brings us to approximately, 23 approaches / speed monitoring sites. And we have 1 full-time officer that is their job, to sit there to download the violations. Actually, they're doing it via a virtual website, but they're monitoring those and they're clicking to either issue an infraction or it's not an infraction, but that's not all that they do. That officer also completes the monthly reports that you see, but a lot of their time is spent in, we have a number on the website. If you have questions, call here. So he calls back a number of people explaining how the program works. Quite honestly, one of the most common questions that he still receives is on red light cameras is, this photo shows I'm stopped, and he has to remind people that it is a photo. And when they go back and watch the video, they don't call back because it's literally, I've had that question multiple times back when I started this program. So he spends a lot of time dealing with the public and with the vendor on this program. So I've been asked and to explain the site selection process in meetings with Mr. Wright, along with Abby Martin, and I'm trying to think of who else are purchasing. I won't say his last name, but Jason. And then there's a couple of council staff has been there as well. So I appreciate Jason because he helped diagram this, and I just put on a slide for us actually how the process works because I've been involved in it for a long time, so I know. First, we have the site identification, potential site identification. So say, hey, we'd like a camera here. So then we take that back and we look at the collision data and/or officer observations about that. Is there crash data at that intersection that would justify the need? Because the whole thrust behind, of course, the photo enforcement is to reduce collisions, reduce harm to both persons and property. And so we evaluate it. If it passes the quote-unquote sniff test, either the data or officer observations, we then, if the answer is no, we don't move forward because we have a lot of intersections. If the answer is yes, we send it to the vendor. So our vendor happens to be Vera Mobility. It used to be American Traffic Solutions. They come out, and in the case of red light cameras where they do that, they'll have a person actually stand there and count. Yep, one happened, one happened, one happened within a time block. And they'll usually do that once or twice per intersection, so that way they're kind of getting an idea of what is the actual incidents or occurrences of violations at those intersections. For speed, I don't think they take a radar gun out. I think they do piezo loops, but I'm not sure. But basically, they do a study to see what kind of problem is the speed at that location. So in the next triangle, the viability is determined. So then we prioritize those. So if they're not really a problem, if we look at it and there's not the violations there that we are either perceived or thought, the process ends. If it's yes, that's kind of like the deciding factor. And that's why I say there's also a prioritization, because let's say we have, and I'll get to that in a second, we submit 12 intersections to be studied, and 5 of them merit photo enforcement. Well, we're going to prioritize which ones do we want. So we would then, once we decide that and make that list, we would sign what's called a notice to proceed with the vendor. They then start creating their engineering plans. They have to grab the GIS data from our websites and from global imaging and all the rest they do, because they have to map out how do they get power, how do they make sure that they get internet access, all those sorts of things as far as coming up with diagrams. They send it to the street department because they have to review it to say, does this fit within the current state laws, within our own regulations? How does it draw on our power? Does it interface with our intersection boxes? Because the ones that our red light cameras do, because they get their red light timing and the yellow light timing from those boxes. So they have to figure out where the wire's going to go. Does it sit within our conduit, or do they run their own? So there's actually one arrow there that should be back and forth, because those diagrams go back and forth a number of times until they reach a plan that is mutually agreeable by the vendor and our street department. Once that's done, we analyze the situation for neighborhood impacts. We have some of these literally like right in the front yard of individuals, because it's for school zones, and there's a house there. So if there's an easement, we'll put it there, or we have to look at how we can situate it. Once those are dealt with, then the program or the vendor comes out and starts the process of actually installing the hardware, which in certain locations can be very labor intensive, other ones are simpler. And then the program, once it's turned on, once the program goes live, there's a 30-day warning program where we send out warning letters to violators to make sure everybody has an opportunity to see that that is up and running in that intersection, especially those that use that route maybe on a frequent or daily basis. That is how we go through the site selection process. To go a little further, there was a list that the council presented. I'm going to back up a moment, of about 36 different locations throughout the city of Spokane that was submitted to the police department. We ciphered that or funneled it through the crash data, which some of this is, along with the officer observations. So we've taken the sites suggested by council along with what the crash data would indicate. As you can see, the data is included the locations, and then you have right angle collisions, and that's specifically called out because they are so dangerous. And then the other types of crashes at that that intersection as well. So these 5 red light locations are ones that boiled to the top, came to the top as far as being important and probably looking at for future investigation. They're the ones that we would put into that box going to the vendor. Yes.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to ask how this compares to the data we had before the last set of cameras went into place. Is it similar collision data?
Help me clarify that question. I'm not sure.
Well, when we put cameras in the last time, say 10 years ago, whenever
Yep.
it was, obviously this exact analysis was done then for those locations. And I'm wondering, how does this collision data for these compare to the collision data for where we have cameras now?
I would have to go back and compare those two. I think what we could do safely, and it's on the website, I believe, as well, is all the intersections that have cameras, that crash data is recorded. I don't know how far back it goes, because back when we put it on the website, we wanted to make sure that we had pre-installation and post-installation, so that way we could do those comparisons moving forward. On these ones, I would have to go back and just specifically ask, okay, when we did our last red light locations, what were the crash data there? And I didn't pull that.
Okay.
But-
And then did you guys look at the rest of these locations as well? And do you have that?
Yep, so,
data? Okay.
and then for the speed, that was, like I said, put forward a lot of the cameras, sites that were suggested by council were speed ones, and that is this list. And so there is, 6 there, and the collisions associated with those particular areas. Now, I'm going to note that when we did the speed crashes, it's harder to capture because it's not necessarily right there. And even if there was a crash right there, it's hard to say that that was speed related. When you have an intersection with a red light camera, most of those are going to be camera related, whether it's someone not paying attention, rear-ending someone, whether it's going through the red light, but those are camera related. These ones, it's hard to be able to state that those collisions are speed related. Speed-related collisions, they could speed through one of these locations and then get in a crash 6 blocks later, still speed-related, but would not necessarily be captured. So that crash data is a little harder to enumerate. Does that make sense? Hopefully explain that. The asterisks on those, so you see the ones at Arlington, Shado Park, and Sac. So all those locations, by the way, were included in the list that came from council. Those 3 particular locations were also supported by a Washington Traffic Safety Commission school traffic safety survey. The commission sent out a group and did a study of a list of, I think there was 12 schools, somewhere in the county, somewhere in the city, and some of those came up as like, hey, these are problems. And they are supported by our crash data, as you see, and why we are including them in proposed sites. Yes.
So I would love to better understand that, because just using the top 2, 13 collisions doesn't warrant the support, but 6 does, and I think both are bad. But I'm just wondering why the first one not getting that support from the.
So, and I would have to pull this up, but as I recall, some of the reasons that like the Arlington got kind of elevated were some of the max speeds recorded there. So it wasn't just that there were collisions, that there was a number of speeding, and some of those max speeds were like alarming. So we were looking at some of those factors to incorporate into the decision making.
Don't we have what do you call it? A crosswalk there with the illuminated lights right there at Arlington?
Yes.
And so
Yes,
how
I
does
believe
that,
so, yeah.
how would those interact then with a red light camera?
So it would have to be separate and independent of that, because obviously those are going to get people to stop. That's what those lights are meant for. So what we're looking for is those that are going to be speeding through there. So we would have to take those. That would be one of those ones where we would have to meet with street department and say,
Right.
is this something that you would want in conjunction with that?
Well, but I guess what I'm wondering though is during those school hours, when those would be utilized, is that not on its own slowing traffic to the point where you're maybe not going to see, the level of revenues from that camera, right? Because there's not going to be as many incidents.
And I believe the study was done even after those were put up. So it's still, there's still a recognized need. So even if it doesn't merit
Okay.
a site there, the fact that it makes a list says that we need to look at it closer.
Great.
Does that
Thank
make
you.
sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you want to keep us going?
Yep,
So,
a little bit
let's
more,
finish.
not much more. So I'm going to go back to this one just for a minute and talk about, well, I'm going to skip. What do we need for additional sites? And I'm going to go back up. These should have probably been reversed. We're going to need more staff. And when we compare it to other cities, there's, I think, 13 jurisdictions in this state of Washington. There could be more that use photo enforcement. And we asked them, okay, how do your officers process these, and how many do they have? How many officers do they have per sites? Which is kind of hard to say because a site may generate more violations or less. So that's something we got to look at is what's basically your violation count that you're handling. But when we did that based on just the site count, we were on about par of what others, like Seattle had for a while, 2 full-time people, that's all they did. And I believe they had about 50 approaches. So again, we're right in that same ballpark. So one of the conversations I've had in the past is our officer, there's probably what I would call a little bit of capacity, but I would not want to put probably more than like 2, maybe 3 approaches more. When I say approaches, that could either be speed or red light on his workload because he isn't going to be able to keep up. And we have time regulations within the law that says we have to do this within an amount of days or else they get thrown out, those sorts of restrictions. So I think we have capacity for maybe 2 to 3 more sites, but that'd be about it before we needed to add more staff. Something else that's going to come up, court clerk and the actual judge, the magistrate that sits on those also agreed that they're about maxed out. So if we start adding more than that much, they're going to need additional staff as well because their docket's getting filled up. And that's the conversation that the other person that was in the meeting that I forgot was Howard Delaney, the court administrator. So, you know, we've kind of tried to take that holistic approach of from the point we go click and issue the infraction through the processing and through the court process, you know, what kind of staff does it take to get that need? So then I'm going to back up an additional need. The law was recently changed in the last legislative session. It is really long. I know I've chatted with Chris Wright about this. Again, he has talked about, and I'm hoping he completes, I'm kind of looking at him to kind of plead, a roadmap through this. It is fairly confusing on parts to understand because they talk about current sites, new sites. Some current sites are grandfathered, and some of the pieces of the new grandfathered sites are grandfathered, but then that grandfathering falls off. It has to talk about how the funds flow because now there's going to be some of the, I'm forgetting the name. It's a special fund that comes from school zones, so some of the money now has to go there. So it's really divvied, and they put a cap on the speed fines, which is actually less than it was before. The fines are actually allowed to follow the traffic fine schedule, but now it can't do that anymore. So there's some restrictions and some more hoops that have to be considered when we're implementing new sites. And this is one of them that I just grabbed. And this talks about the local legislative authority must prepare an analysis. I'm not going to go through this, but basically this body gets to commission a study of any proposed sites to make sure that it fits through those requirements to include the impact of the camera on livability, accessibility, economics, education, environmental health, and all those sorts of things. So there's some additional hoops that will have to be jumped through. And as we add sites into the future, I believe it's beginning in 25, maybe 26, the Washington Traffic Safety Commission then has to prepare an annual report that's reported back to the state legislators. Well, that's great, except for they get to pass that to the local municipalities and say, we want you to do this, and this is the format it's going to look at. And we won't have staff to do it because the only person we have dedicated to do is going to be maxed out on what he's already doing. So as we move forward, this is going to become more labor intensive and require more time and labor. So I tried to talk really fast to get through it.
You did great.
Can we go back to the one about the staff needed? So we had talked at one point, it could have been with SPD or could have been with Howard, about having a dedicated court commissioner to just these. Is that not how it is now?
I'm looking at Chris. Do you remember if he's solely, I don't think he's solely dedicated to this, but I'm not 100% sure. If he did, I mean, as we move forward.
If I may.
It's Howard's voice from afar. Yes,
Yeah,
Howard.
yeah, I'm speaking from afar. Yes, we actually do have one court commissioner already that is funded through ATS. They work in concert. The work actually moves among all the commissioners, but the volume is equivalent at this point to more or less one FTE. And again, we can probably pick up 1, maybe 2 more sites with the existing staff.
Yep. Yep.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for this information. I know we've been wanting to hear these updates for a very long time, so appreciate that. A few questions. I know when we passed the resolution with the list of locations a year ago, The intent of council at that time was actually to double the program. So we knew that we were at capacity of 1 to 2 more cameras. And so that's why we created a long list, is to say, let's do another 20 cameras instead of just 2, so that we can hire another FTE both at the courts and both for enforcement. And so I don't know has that been part of the conversation? Because it doesn't seem like it from what's been presented that has been
So
the interest of it
again,
expanding.
We have to, measure some of those sites aren't going to merit necessarily a camera site because, so the fee structure on this, and I'm going to rabbit trail just a moment, so call me back if you want. Every approach, every camera costs about $5,000 a month. Flat fee, that's what we call it. We don't pay it per ticket because we're trying to take any quote unquote incentive for a vendor to do something different or weird. So it's $5,000 a month per approach. And that's just the way that goes, and that's the way that impacts it. If we don't get enough violations, then we have to pay the difference. So we need to make sure that we're bearing that in mind as we do our site selection. That's why we have the vendor count and the site analysis that's carried through. As far as additional staff, I mean, right now we have pulled back all of our traffic officers, all our NROs, our DV officers back to be answering 911 calls. We have not pulled this person back because, well, he's fully funded by this program. And so it's being net zero. And we don't have an officer that we could say, okay, we're going to take you and dedicate you straight to this because it'd be pulling someone out of 911 calls, even though it's funded. It would be taking away from our ability to respond to those that are in progress and other types of calls. Does that make sense? Okay.
Go ahead.
So there's been no real financial analysis if we implement it. You said net zero, but with the new cameras, additional staff, courts, all that, keeping people safe is a primary concern, of course, but if we're going backwards financially, has that type of analysis been done? Will we break even? Will we come out ahead? Or we just don't know?
Well, we won't know on all those sites, but the sites that have been submitted, we'll be able to do an analysis on, okay, will these be able to self-sustain, right? So the vendor will be able to do the analysis on those sites. We wouldn't be able to ask them to do 30-some sites, which is why we pared it down. And I believe we submitted 11 or 12, which is a very high number. Usually when we submitted a list, it's in that 6, maybe 8 to range. But we stretched it because we wanted to make sure that we get those that we feel are those that are the most hazardous before them to see if we can do that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of this feels kind of more technical than police work to me. I mean, obviously the issuing of the tickets or verifying that they're valid and all that. I believe that a police officer should be the one doing those things. But all this other stuff, looking at the collision data and just doing some of the on-site assessments and all of that, is there not the possibility of sort of contracting that work out from PD, because that is who it's assigned to, but can PD not bring on a third party to help just do some of that work when you're over capacity, much like our plan department does with a number of studies and different things, just bringing a contractor in that can do it?
It's potential, but part of that is going to be mining the collision data, which is something that we're going to have to do unless, they could be brought in and given access so they could do portions of that work. And as you know, in the change of the law, it actually authorizes civilians to be able to issue infractions.
Oh, I know it changed. I don't support that piece of it, but yeah,
Right,
I know it changed.
and there are nuances to that as well.
Okay.
But some of the other work could be done that way. We would just have to get spending authorization again to bring someone in to do that, because it would be, screening, backgrounding, because we're going to give them some access to that information.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, last question,
Go ahead.
because
We gotta keep moving.
It's almost 2:00 and we're on our second agenda item, so I want to get us moving. So,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, still more to follow up on this, but I just was wondering, the list of locations that you provided, I don't remember council passing anything with red light locations. It was mostly speed locations, and all of the ones that you referred to here are all schools, when there were a lot of parks and hospitals that were on that list too. So I was wondering if you could provide the full list of analysis that you've created. I'm assuming that you already analyzed all of the locations, so there should be a list. And presumably also with speeds too, because it's about speeds, not just collisions. So just if you can follow up and send that information would be helpful.
I'll provide what we pulled. I don't know what kind of data was exactly pulled. Collisions are important to us, right? Like I said, that's probably, that's what we want to stop. right, or the collisions. The red light cameras were added because while speed is one of the major and recognized factors by NHTSA as being one of the top 5 factors in fatalities, red light cameras, because the left angle, the right angle crashes are traumatizing to the bodies. Your bodies are made to have impact forward, made to have impact backwards, but not from the side. And it's really damaging. And that's why the city elected to start and follow up with red light cameras. And so with the volume of crashes at those intersections, that's why we included those, because the damage caused by crashes at intersections can be very bad.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. It was just not on the priority list from council and what we sent previously. And that brings me to my follow-up point, which is in the site selection process, it doesn't look like there's ever a touch point back to council on where the final locations go. So I really encourage us to have that, because it seems like it just all moves forward without coming back to council for approval or policy direction on which type of cameras to prioritize. So I think we should follow up conversation about that.
Yeah, we could have follow-up on that, yep.
Thank you. All right. Traffic calming funds.
Okay, that one's going
Fold
to
into
save you some
that.
time. It's really
There we go.
easy.
There we go.
We have not used any of the traffic calming funds. And I know that Assistant Chief McNabb is on, and he can supplement whatever I have to say. Right now, we don't have staff. We have pulled back all our traffic officers to work 911, well, to work regular patrol. We are trying to get our calls answered. I mean, we are setting some records last year in the number of calls that we are answering, and so we're trying to keep those bodies dedicated that way. We didn't have bodies to dedicate just to respond to reconstruct the traffic unit, and some of the mechanisms in there didn't allow for that to flow easily. Yes?
Are we still short 10 or so officers? Is that the number?
I believe right now our staffing looks like this, and I'm gonna have to go through my head because that's why I memorize it in my brain. I believe we are 6 actual vacancies, but we have 18 officers in one form of training or another. We have 20, I want to say now I'm blanking it out, 23 to 27, I believe, and there's a variable there that are either on sick leave, FMLA, admin leave, for one purpose or another. And the reason I say there's 4, because 4 of those are on FMLA, which means it's intermittent leave. They could be here today and then gone for a week, and gone back for a week, gone for a day. So we're right in that range of 40 plus to, I think it was like 41 to 46-ish positions that we're not actually able to use as full-time patrol officers. Wow. So that's the need.
Yeah.
Is there an expectation that we might see that allocation?
To traffic, it's one of those priorities that is being set. When we get the 18 officers in training, we have to look at how can we spend those bodies. Is the priority on the NROs? Is the priority in traffic? It's how do we spend those bodies? Because right now we still have 7 detectives assigned to patrol. So it'd be nice to be able to get them over and following up on those crimes that are not necessarily being worked because they're still in patrol. It's a matter of all these glasses need water, and we only have so much water to go around.
Right.
So
Where there's a will, there's a way. Go
Yep.
ahead.
So with that being said, if we don't have any officers on traffic, then you're not spending the traffic calming dollars that we allocated. Is that what I'm hearing?
that's what you're hearing at this point.
Okay.
And so is that anticipated to change, or probably not at this rate since we're halfway through the year? I'm thinking for our overall allocation, that was 1.8 million. Is that correct?
I can't speak for sure what's going to happen in the future, but right now we don't have immediate plans to move that way. Like I said, due to the staffing issues.
Thank you.
And if I miss anything, Chief, you can pipe right in.
Well, thank you so much. Now we're going to hear a report on hate crimes. So we're going to take that, our Assistant Chief McNabb.
Chief's going to carry that one.
All right.
Afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. And I'll just follow up on what Major Olson had to say. Yeah, the traffic calming funds, it's on a reimbursement model. So unless we have staffing we can dedicate to that type of police work, then we're just not going to be able to be accessing those funds. And that's just not a reality right now with our staffing situation. Continuing increase in 911 calls, we have to have people out there to answer those calls. So long and short of it, just don't have the staffing. It is Pride Month, I believe, and Pride Week with our Pride Parade happening on Saturday. We are evaluating all these events individually as we do any special event and making sure we have adequate staffing and monitoring the climate and any threats surrounding these events. So we are well prepared to make sure everybody has a safe and happy event they can enjoy all through the weekend on Saturday. As far as the damage to the 2 murals in the city, those are both open and active investigations. As Council Member Dillon said, later this week, I believe Thursday, damaging public property for the purpose of discriminating against certain groups is going to become a hate crime, which is a Class C felony. And so that will give us another tool to prosecute those individuals that are doing this. It's going to be just a matter of time before we figure out who is perpetrating these crimes. And when we do, we will figure it out and they'll be prosecuted. I can't go into a whole lot of detail on what we have so far on these incidents, but without compromising the investigation. But I know that based on the event that happened on Perry Street the other night, that right down to the line level, our officers are concerned, as we are, and wishing this wasn't happening. And we're going to do our best to prevent it from happening in the future and hold those accountable who are committing these crimes.
Thank you so much. I guess, how I know it's a tough conversation to navigate with an ongoing investigation, but any sort of reassurances or anything that you can provide around how to prevent this, or things that residents should know too in terms of reporting, because I think there's a heightened sense of fear and anxiety that with these events coming up that we will see more incidents.
Yeah, as far as we always rely on our community and our partners in the community to help us solve crimes daily, all types of crimes. And so if you find that you live in one of these areas or you have video that may help us identify who's doing this, please come forward and help us work through these investigations. As far as the events coming up this week, we want our community to know that we have a lot of very dedicated and highly motivated people working on these events to assess the threats. The staffing levels will be adequate for any sort of threats that we're monitoring, that we get through our federal partners, information we get through our federal partners, or that we're monitoring ourselves through multiple channels. So I feel very comfortable that our staffing level, especially for the parade, is going to be more than adequate for a safe event.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for that update. And I was wondering if council members could follow up with you individually for a little bit more information. And then also for the parade route itself, I know last year being in the parade, it felt unsettling to have traffic coming at you one way on Washington. I was wondering if it's possible to have a full closure similar to like Lilac Parade in the staging area. I think I've heard from event organizers that they've made that request in the past, but it seems like a no-brainer to not have cars going by people in the staging area.
That's in the staging area or on the active parade route?
The staging area.
Okay, I'll look into that, council members. Upon I don't know the answer to that right now offhand.
Thank you.
And there is construction happening on that section of where turns into North Stevens. Experienced that today, so that might kind of help mitigate it. But no, I agree. You go through the tunnel, it's dark, there's cars rushing by, there's people are packed together, there's families. It is definitely a safety hazard. So thanks for flagging that.
Yeah, I believe our special events coordinator and our community outreach supervisor met with members of the LGBTQ community who are organizing these events this week. So hopefully that request was made, but I will definitely follow up.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
All right, now we'll have Kevin Picano come down, talk about unpaved streets, bid and award.
Kobe. Good afternoon, Council. Kevin Picanso from Integrated Capital Management. I'm here to talk to you today about an item that's on your consent and advance agenda this afternoon. Item 1 on your consent agenda, which is a contract for the Unpaved Streets Program that was bid about a month ago. We asked you to continue that item and defer a decision on it until June 3rd, but there's a need for further discussion and direction on it. Before I get into the real specifics of that contract, just want to provide a little brief background and overview and history, given that we have some newer council members that haven't been in previous discussions on this program. The program was established in November of 2018. First year of construction was in 2020. The program allocates $700,000 a year out of the street department's operating budget for local street maintenance dollars. That's $700,000 a year. We've had the goal of constructing 2 blocks per council district per year citywide, so 6 blocks total. The locations are selected periodically by City Council based on a screen list provided by city staff. The initial prioritization list was created in 2019 and updated in 2021 and 2023. When we talk about unpaved streets, this is what we're looking at, an existing unpaved street where we come in and we do strip paving 24 feet wide, no sidewalk or curbing, simple drainage on the outside in terms of a drainage ditch. This is meant to be very lean, low-cost construction to do as much work as we can under those limited funds allocated. This year's contract that's in that bid that's under consideration, 6 locations citywide, 2 in each council district. It's a couple in Chief Gary, 2-block stretch at Cuba in District 2, and then 2 blocks each side of Driscoll to the northwest in District 3. So now getting to that specific item that's before us that we have to make a decision on here. Bids were received May 6th. Bids came in high at $874,000. We, at that time, requested the council delay awarding that contract to provide some more time to further consider it. In terms of total project costs, again, that low bid is just for the contractor's costs. Total program costs, we're projecting $1,050,000 to $1.1 million when we factor in design, construction, administration, and inspection. That means we're $350,000 to $400,000 over budget on that $700,000, so fairly significant. So put together several options here. There's even more options we could come up with, but just trying to bracket and kind of give a range of options. First is look to backfill the budget overage through other funding sources. I believe you received earlier from Arlene today an email on 2 different grant awards we've received in the last couple months related to the traffic calming program, cycles 10 and 11, $1,050,000 between those 2 programs. It was an unexpected grant opportunity. We were fortunate that it worked out and received those funds. That's a potential option, is to allocate $350,000 to $400,000 to cover that budget overage for the unpaved street program. You would still have a net increase of $650,000 to $700,000 in traffic calming dollars coming to you from those grant awards. Again, that was really not planned for or expected. Yes.
Are asphalt prices coming down or going up? Because if they're going up, I don't think it'd be smart to delay, right? I mean, wouldn't the cost come in even higher than the 862?
Well, the easiest way to answer that is our costs have been very volatile over the last year. This time last year, we were seeing costs go through the roof. We got better bids in the fall and early 2024 on some of our grind and overlay projects. So it's a little bit hard to predict, frankly. What we're hearing from our contractors in this particular program and what's driving the cost, and it's something it's not their favorite project, if you will, in that you have small locations spread all over town. So they have more mobilization costs, more coordination costs versus doing 6 straight blocks in one location, for instance. And they feel like that drives up their costs, not just to them, but their subcontractors as well.
Well, then hopefully, we're able to kind of look at that from an economies of scale sort of perspective in the future and try to tie some of these, that are closer to other ongoing projects.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to a larger discussion we need to have. I think I mentioned in the past, we need to have another study session on this overall program, talk about what the future looks like for it. But we have this matter at hand. We have to make a decision on this particular contract, what we're going to do with it. Are we going to award it or not? The second option we put out there before you that could be done is to reject this bid, rebid it in the fall. Construction wouldn't start until the spring. The idea here is essentially taking 2 years worth of that $700,000, to allocate toward those contracts. So that's 1.4 million. Again, we don't know what that rebid cost would be. As you said, there is risk that it could be higher. But let's say it's in the order of magnitude 1.2 million total. It's still coming over in under 2 years' worth of budget allocation for this program. That said, it's also pending the 2025 budget. We don't know what the 2025 budget looks like yet, and obviously there's some challenges and stresses that exist there as well. The last option is not really an option I'm recommending per se. We could completely reject this bid and wait to have those further discussions and decide what the future looks like. I'm not necessarily recommending that. There has been investment in costs, going into the design of this contract. So I do think it's wise to bid it and build what we have before you today. But whether we do it, through an option 1 or option 2 or some other similar option is what we need to decide on. So.
Sorry. Could you just talk about the priority list, and are these projects representative of sort of the top of those lists, or did we kind of have to go down to make it work? Just kind of curious.
Yeah, generally how we've handled that, there's over 250 unpaved streets in each of districts 1 and 2. There's fewer in District 3. We've gone through a process in the past, very high clip. We're not doing a ton of analysis, but a very high clip to screen down in tiers, if you will, and provide those to council. And from those tiers in general, we've encouraged you to kind of look at the top tier, and within, a top tier might be 40 locations. And then from there, you guys make those decisions on which ones you like to move forward with. What does happen sometimes, we get into design, something as unexpected comes up. When that occurs, we're worried it's going to drive those costs up. We go right down the list to the next priority. And that's kind of how it's been working the last several years.
But in terms of these chosen projects, are they generally the
Yes,
top of those?
yeah, they were selected from that top top tier of that list. We had this discussion last summer. There was some back and forth dialogue via email. Those locations were confirmed. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. I might have some follow-up. I know I've had some residents in East Central present us with a petition about high need for an unpaved road, and kind of discuss some next steps on how to get that prioritized.
Okay, great. And just a reminder, it is on your consent agenda today, so it'll have to be a decision there one way or the other.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Go ahead.
So I guess the recommendation is, from your perspective, would be move forward. FYI, we just need an extra few $100,000, right? Is that?
Between 1 and 2,
Yeah.
that would probably, it's 51-49. Yeah, I'd probably lean to awarding it and moving forward.
Sure.
As Councilmember Cathcart mentioned, there's risk when you rebid. You don't know if you're going to get even higher cost.
Right. And so if we were to do number 2, reject and rebid, what is your best guess projection for what happens if we do that one?
I wouldn't want to hazard a guess. Like I said, our costs last year have been very volatile. Could be up, could be down. It's really hard to say. What I would recommend, if you're going to, for your decision today, I would assume the cost is going to come in roughly at what it is, as we speak.
So then if we reject and rebid, what's the process for that? When would we move forward with some construction on that next year? I see.
It would be spring, yeah.
Okay.
Spring 2025 start is what I would suggest. Yeah.
Great. All right. Thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, we're going to have Ann Raven come up, discuss the SBO on co-response agreement and expansion. 2 items.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. The fire department is requesting approval of a service agreement with the University of Washington that will provide us with $200,000 in funds. The agreement asks for certain benchmarks, like a plan for the expansion of the BRU and CARES, as well as budget, things like that, things that we are doing anyway, but that we would provide this information and be willing to share it with other departments. And then the SBO is to utilize $100,000 of that in this year to purchase 2 vehicles for our CARES department to do outreach and follow up on the patients that we see now.
Great. Thank you. Go ahead.
Well, I I know the answer to this, but why do the folks, the CARES team, why do they need Mach-E's to drive around in?
Because to the best of my knowledge from my logistics chief, they are the only all-wheel drive electric vehicles.
And your
that's-
CARES team members have electric plugins at their homes, and that's why they need the electric?
Oh, no, they wouldn't take these home. And we have plugins at the station, but I thought it was.
I just think the optics are kind of odd. It's a luxury, really nice vehicle. You're out helping the homeless and doing it. The optics to me are just so contrasting. I don't get it, but.
It was my understanding that we had to get electric vehicles. Is,
According to some opinions, but yeah.
oh, okay.
On these particular two Mach-E's, we got quite a significant deal on them, so a savings of almost $30,000 between the two vehicles in this purchase.
Okay. All right.
Good.
On the agreement with the University of Washington, in addition to the reporting or the benchmarks, is there any room in there that students will be used or be involved in this exercise?
No, in fact, there is a request that we provide to firefighter paramedics to train in how to do medication-assisted treatment and also our CARES social work.
And then just to verify,
Yes.
you said this is coming from a grant, and this is just sort of affirming the grant and then and joining into the agreement?
Correct.
Okay.
It is the language from the University of Washington refers to it as a service contract. However, it was a grant.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions for Ann? Thanks so much for coming down.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, next up, I'm going to chat a little bit about this ordinance I've drafted. Still a little bit of a work in progress, some fine tuning. I've got some really good feedback from Chief Lundgren as well as PFD. But in short, it would add a new section to the SMC related to firearms. It's actually kind of surprised after doing some more digging in that there's a lack of language with specifics to firearms in our SMC. We have about 10 cities so far in our research that we know have regulated the discharge of firearms within city limits. The language is pretty consistent about where there is a reasonable likelihood of injury to people, animals, or property. There are some cities that go farther, like Everett, Lakewood, Issaquah, that don't allow any discharge within city limits. Two other components to this are possession of weapons, and so that would be open carry at our city-owned buildings, so this building here. Community centers, our public facilities, so that would be our stadium, arena. Again, got some good feedback from the PFD about expanding the language to be more specific to entertainment and sporting events. And then lastly, disposition of firearms, retained by police or destroyed. Chief Lundgren had some good feedback about just destroying weapons. I know still a little unclear. I know council passed an ordinance a couple years ago about reselling items that had been part of forfeiture. So making sure that that is cleaned up. But as it stands now, and there would be a minimal, I think, gain from this, but still being able to use forfeiture for trainings. So that would be all firearms, magazines, and ammunition that come under the possession of the police department. Could be used or retained or would be destroyed. There's a number of exemptions, of course, in this ordinance. So, that includes our firing ranges, law enforcement, of course, and then finally a section, nothing in here will be in conflict with the state constitution the right to bear arms in defense of self or others, as well as not applying to concealed carry, which again, some other cities do go a little bit farther to include that as well. The kind of, I think, origins of this ordinance, I really do believe that when we see better protections around gun safety, trying to prevent gun violence, we do see a decrease in violent crimes related to guns. We've had 44 shooting incidents so far this year. That would be an average of 2 a week. So, I really am interested in finding where is there some ability in our code to make a difference and try and strengthen some protections. And obviously, there's a lot of always evolving state laws around this. One point that Chief Lundgren did bring up, and I think we'll be talking about this more, is that a lot of state law does cover the language around discharge of a firearm within city limits, and we talked about that a little bit in our public safety agenda setting meeting as well. But welcome any questions, and I don't know, Chris, anything I missed?
Just
go ahead.
A couple things. I'm wondering, what is the rule right now? I was actually trying to find the RCW and I just couldn't find it yet, but what is the rule right now with regards to carrying in City Hall? Because my understanding is the mayor effectively has been empowered to sort of decide whether or not it's allowed or not. And I think it's on a per person basis. And so is that the case? Is there some other law? Could council pass something that sort of overrides the mayor on that? I'm just not sure where that stands right now.
To be honest, I don't remember the details. I know it's in RCW 941.
Okay.
9A41 maybe, or 941. But I don't have a lot of clarity on that issue either right now.
And I think that was to conceal. Is there allowance for open in City Hall? Is that permitted under the law right now?
I
I've
don't
never
think
seen
so.
anybody
In
open
public
carry, so
buildings.
that's why I'm just not sure.
My understanding is no.
Okay.
That no open carry. Yeah.
Okay. And I know that's the case for the convention centers and things of that nature. I guess the thing I would say, and I know, Paul and I kind of went back and forth a little bit in our agenda setting on this, and I don't see exactly what this encapsulates or changes in terms of our enforcement today. But I mean, if our goal is the reduction of gun violence, I mean, I think, frankly, and I know some people will not like this, but the answer is we need judges who care. And when I read stories about a guy in a situation where he fires a gun in public and hits somebody and is let back out into the community and then goes and beats up an 82-year-old, I get very, very angry at the judicial system for allowing that violence to take place. And so I think we need judges and folks involved in the judicial system who are focused on taking these things seriously. And so I don't think we have the ability to direct municipal court or anything else, certainly not district and superior on this stuff, but it just seems like that to me is the answer, is we need judges who actually believe that if somebody commits a crime with a gun, they actually might be a danger to the community and they should do something about it and not put them back out on the street.
Thank you. That's a good point.
So, kind of along the lines of that question, right now, it's illegal to shoot somebody, but if you accidentally discharge your weapon, and then we don't have any laws on the books about discharging a weapon, I don't think our courts can do.
But that's a law already.
And
You
that's
can't
what-
discharge.
So you can't discharge a weapon in city limits, and that's a state law, not a local law, right?
My interpretation is if we were in the county has areas where they've sort of legalized shooting, right? That doesn't apply in the city. So this would create a lot of restrictions in the county if it was just placed on them. But for us, I don't think it changes a lot. That's just my sense.
Okay. So that doesn't change what our courts can and cannot do with them?
So Chris, correct me if I'm wrong here, but adding this language into the SMC would provide that tool if there was let's say, an accidental discharge near a person within X amount of feet of their home.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think it would.
Yeah, that's what this does.
Okay, because I already thought that that was pretty illegal. I was raised to believe that.
It is illegal.
It's illegal, but I feel like it'd be good to add some recourse there, not just having it be technically illegal.
Yeah, there's some murkiness there. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so what are we adding with this? Because that's what I was having a hard time understanding. What are we adding with this?
Yeah, great question. So really comes down to kind of three kind of core components. So the new addition would be, in the areas of the city, it shall be unlawful to discharge a firearm toward or within 500 feet of any building occupied by people or domestic animals. Flammable
So
combustible.
section 1075030 is what's being added.
Yep, as
Okay.
well as the possession of firearms as I mentioned before.
75040. Okay.
And then adding for the disposition of firearms, so with forfeiture, magazines, and ammunition.
Okay. And so then on the possession of firearms here, I believe the legislature made it illegal to open carry a firearm already in buildings like the one that we're in before this was happening. So is this expanding that, or what are we doing with that?
Yeah, my understanding is that it would be expanding and clarifying, and then also adding any public. The legislature didn't say all city buildings.
Right.
They didn't say all municipal buildings. So this would be expanding it to all municipal buildings, and then as well as publicly owned buildings like the arena and stadium.
Okay, so you can't open carry in any of those, but it doesn't apply to those who concealed carry.
Correct. Yep.
How does this, I think I'm reading it down here, but just want to make sure. So gun ranges, things like that in the city, that's exempt from this,
Yep.
okay? So long as they're lawfully permitted.
Yes.
Right, okay. And, shoot, I lost my questions here. Hang on just 1 second. Okay. And then I guess I'm confused on the selling versus destroying, why we wouldn't want to sell those, obviously, to fund that program.
Yeah, some of the issues that have come up are if someone has been a victim of violence and a gun does get resold, and there becomes a question of what is evidence, what isn't, how if it needs to be destroyed or retained. But for someone that has been a victim of violence, it's like, how will a gun travel? Does that gun then get recycled and used again? I think that is a moral kind of argument that we can definitely discuss. But I think for the proliferation of guns on the streets, that might come up at an auction, that was something that the chief brought up, that could be something that we button up. Oh,
Well finished.
I guess I would just say that's my only, my main pushback on that is, I don't know how many people in here own weapons, but there's no shortage of places where you can get guns, just FYI. There's no shortage of places you can get them. And so for us, as we're seizing these, to destroy them, to me, seems to be a detriment to the city when it comes to, the revenue that could be lawfully generated through the sale of those, through the sale of firearms. So to me, I just think it negatively impacts the city, but.
I agree. I think at the end of the day, whether or not you're purchasing a firearm that's been confiscated here and it's legal, and you go through your background checks and your waiting times and all of that, or you go to sharpshooters and you buy a gun and you do your background check and your waiting times and all of that, there's really no functional difference between the two. You're still going to buy the gun. But alternatively, too, I do think it's important that we at least allow for the retention for the police department, because at the end of the day, these guns are $300 to thousands of dollars, and for them to be able to utilize those and not come to us for, more budget to buy more guns, to me makes a whole lot of sense. So I wouldn't, unless, again, there's some real good reason to destroy it. I just think as a baseline that makes sense. But the other question I had, and I'll reach out to legal for clarification, but I don't know if you have it already, which is under Section B, 1075-040B, there is twice references to Spokane County. Spokane County is not a subordinate of the city of Spokane. How do we mandate upon another jurisdiction what their gun laws are going to be?
We'll clean that up probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
One
okay.
last- I'm still hung up on allowing discharge inside the city. Can we just limit it to shooting ranges? I just really don't,
Oh, just to limit it to shooting ranges.
instead of saying, oh, if it's near explosives or people or pets, or, can we just limit it to shooting ranges? Like licensed shooting ranges? Okay.
I am almost sure that it's already limited in that way, whether we put in 500 feet of whatever.
I think it should be in our language, too.
No, I get it. For all intents and purposes, it's not it doesn't make a difference because it's already law, but I understand adopting it in our code, but yeah.
Last quick.
Go ahead.
Councilmember Dillon, I'd just be curious as to really how much money we made on the selling of guns, because it is a philosophical question if we're contributing to the same problem we feel like we're trying to
Yeah.
mitigate by guns on the street. So if police could give us some kind of information, if we're talking a couple $1,000s, then talking $1 million, two different conversations.
I think the answer was it was a couple thousand, but yeah. Go ahead, Councilman Overshay.
That was exactly my question. How much money are we making on reselling these guns, these weapons? And also, like, is it, if they're confiscated, they're probably from crimes, I'm assuming?
Some, yeah.
So like you said, like morally, are we going to wait more on if that gun like killed someone or make profit out of it?
I would just say a couple $1,000s will not buy you many guns. Just if we're only making a couple $1,000s, I mean we're talking a handful of weapons being sold here, and that seems pretty low to me. But I could be wrong here. Maybe it is that low. So, yeah.
Councilmember Dillon, I can add a little bit about the forfeiture issue.
Yeah.
Our current code does cover that, SMC 1205-065. And the current code says that they destroy it unless it has some unique training value or some antique value. But it doesn't cover, excuse me, ammunition. So the proceeds are fairly modest from ammunition. And so that's why we added that in.
Just one more. So RCW 941230B. Willfully, this is any person willfully discharges any firearm, air gun, or other weapon, or throws any deadly missile in a public place, or in any place where any person might be endangered thereby, and then a public place shall not include any location at which firearms are authorized to be lawfully discharged. So I presume that would be a shooting range of some kind.
Yep, correct.
I happen to know this because as a kid I was shooting a BB gun in the city and the cops came, and so I happen to know it's already illegal. Yeah. Lived experience, my
I'm
friends.
glad you're okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Okay.
right.
Well, thank you all. Let's have Melanie come on down.
Good afternoon. I know this goes up.
Yes, the white on your right, right there. Yes, that.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I wasn't quite sure what time this meeting was over, but I guess we still have time to do this presentation, so we'll take it quickly. So I'm Melanie Rose, Regional Business Manager with the Vista. I brought Matt Ugaldia with me. He is our Wildfire Program Manager, and we're going to just give you some basic information about our wildfire plan, and mostly focus on...
And Melanie, it's the black clicker, and it's the down button, I believe, should get you to advance.
Perfect. Thank you. Reading my mind. We'll focus mostly on what's new this year, but it has been a couple of years since we came to City Council to present this wildfire plan, so I'm not sure any of you have heard this before. So basically, Avista has had this plan for 3 years. We developed it in 2020. It's a 10-year plan. And we are going to spend about $437 million on this plan over the course of the 10 years of the plan to keep people and property as safe as we can from wildfire. So this is a look at our distribution system, our distribution electric system across eastern Washington and North Idaho. The fuchsia pink areas are the highest fire threat for us. The next highest is orange, followed by yellow and green. So this is Spokane County. The city itself is green, so it's a fairly low fire threat because if you think about wildfire, it's the urban interface. It's a wildland-urban interface. But if you think about the outskirts of the city of Spokane, there's quite a bit of fire risk there. The Eagle Ridge area, Indian Trail, places like that. So this is what we use to make our decisions on where we're going to spend our money with our plan. Is primarily what we do with this information. So it's a 4-part plan, grid and hardening, strengthening our grid, using steel poles instead of wood poles, using fiberglass cross arms instead of wood, anything to protect the grid from fire as well as to minimize spark ignition events is really what we're doing with our grid hardening. This year we have started based on how last year's wildfire season went between the Maui fire and of course the Gray and Oregon Road fires. We are gradually going to start shifting to undergrounding some of our distribution lines in high fire threat areas. So this year we are looking at an 11-mile stretch. It's just south of the city limits down the Palouse Highway that we're going to be undergrounding. We're going to start the work this year and finish it next year and continue on from there. Enhanced vegetation management is our trees. We've got lots of trees that fall into power lines. And so we are inspecting all of those risk trees 100% of the time every year. Situational awareness, this is helping us understand what the threat is out in the community. And most importantly, number 4, operations and emergency response. This is where we've had a lot of changes this year in our plan. So I'm going to let Matt take the next few slides. Yeah, that one.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Melanie said, we have a 4-part plan. It was expected to be 10 years. Based on the way the first 3 years are going, I think that is very optimistic. And I think that the threat of wildfire, especially utility-caused wildfire, is going to be something that we all have to address until conditions improve on the landscape. As she said, we've got a few new things. We talked about them. I'm going to focus this first slide on situational awareness. Avista created its own risk model to monitor its risk on a day-to-day basis. Actually, it's even more granular than that. We can look at it hour by hour. Excuse me. It takes into consideration about 12 different wildfire-based inputs, and then it also adds in utility-specific metrics. So we can predict a risk of the utility being the cause of a spark ignition event on a very bad day and thus being involved in a wildfire. That slide to the right there, as the numbers go from green to yellow to red, that means our risk is increasing. And the way it correlates well with this slide. So what we're doing is we're changing our protection settings. And this basically shows as the risk increases, Avista's reliability decreases. And what we do is right now we're in the green because the vegetation is not cured yet. We're not in wildfire season at this point, so we're running at maximum reliability. We're allowing our system to try to repair itself when it detects a fault, and we call it a trip and reclose, so on and so forth, to really try to maintain that reliability of the system. But as we move up in risk, we start to make our system more sensitive. And what that means is that we reduce the amount of fault current that it would take to cause a trip. We do this through a number of really technical processes. But as you can see, we get to the point, like last year during the Gray Road fire, we were in the orange category for risk. It is the most sensitive that we can set it. And so if anything touches it, if a leaf blows on it, if a branch blows into it or a tree falls into it, whatever, it immediately turns itself off. Unfortunately, with this setting, what we see is that it's not fuse, it doesn't operate fuses, so some of our circuits are really long, up to 85 miles long. We'll have no way to tell exactly where that fault happens. So what does that mean? It's going to take us longer to get the lights back on. We do our best to sectionalize our system so that we can decrease the amount of downtime to the grid. But again, there is no way for us to operate and keep our communities safe without sacrificing this reliability. Our final, the biggest tool in our toolbox is this concept of public power safety shutoff, or PSPS. This is now the industry standard through utility owners. Actually, there was state law that's passed that requires all utility operators to have a wildfire mitigation plan like Avista has had for the last 3 years. In that plan, the question about PSPS comes up, trying to drive that alignment. And we found that we're really well aligned with all of the larger independently owned utilities in the Western United States. This is not something that is specific to us. It's now the industry standard. But just to go into that, what that looks like is when our risk modeling system lights up completely red, we will begin to have the conversations about turning the power off before the storm hits to make sure that we're not at fault for a wildfire ignition. And so I'm okay, yeah, and I've kind of used this. I've kind of talked about this, what it means. We started using this as a tool of last resort, but with the changing risk landscape, this is just a tool to us now. I can't foresee a scenario where we have to use this, but I do know that it exists, and it might look something like the windstorm of 2015 in August is when we might start looking at that is too much risk. We're putting our communities and our customers in peril if we continue to operate. So we're going to have that discussion about preemptively shutting it off when those conditions pop up. We've done a lot of outreach and a lot of collaboration with multiple state agencies, county agencies. We've had the City of Spokane Fire Department and started talking about these issues because we recognize the fact that when we take the electrical grid offline, it poses pretty unique challenges to our first responders. When the lights go off, people tend to call 911, and so we want to make sure we're in lockstep with those key agencies so that nobody's caught off guard if and when we have to use this tool. And do you want me to? So Melanie and I tag team this presentation a lot, so it's always kind of fluid and dynamic. But so customer communication, we feel like, is going to be critical. We know how to operate our grid however we want to, but we also recognize that the hardest part about implementing a plan like this is customer communication. And so we have been workshopping this program for the last 3 years on how this might look, with a really, really intensified focus over the last 8 months. And we've come up with this notification plan, this communication plan to all of our customers. This slide represents the ideal timeline. As I started with, we have a risk-based model that's based on the weather. And everybody in this room knows about our weather and how accurate it is 7 days out. It's just not. But as we get closer and closer to the event day, it becomes tighter and tighter. So what we have is 2 to 3 days out, we'll start communicating with all of our customers, especially with a focus to our AFN customers, our life support customer, and our medically vulnerable customers. We'll start reaching out to them and doing a real high-touch communication, real active communication. And that's as soon as something we think is likely. As we get closer and closer to the event day, we continue those communications and we start going from kind of a passive general message to a very targeted, very active messaging campaign. And then, obviously, once the outage begins, we're going to be in touch with every one of our customers that's currently being impacted by our operations throughout the event. We've got a new update to our outage map. I don't know how many in the room have seen the outage map that Avista has, but this year what we've done is we've updated it to include these polygons, these risk polygons that we call where PSPS is likely. And so that's one of the new changes that we've got this year. Yeah, I'm going to let you take the, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Matt. So we've been doing a lot of outreach this year. We're pretty much focused on PSPS. We made the public announcement on May 7th. It was a press conference. I think I invited all of you to be there if you wanted to be. And it caused a lot of questions. We are not, randomly throwing the power off all over the place, right? It's very surgical, it's very specific, it's very strategic, and it's also for a limited period of time. That's the other thing for people to understand. So we've been working on getting out and talking to all of our customers, all of our partners, including you, and like Matt said, we've met with your fire chief and her chiefs, we've met with cabinet. We have a tabletop exercise coming up on Thursday that Sarah Nuss will be attending. And we also have a telephone town hall meeting coming up on June 25th for the city of Spokane. We're going to be calling every customer in the city of Spokane and inviting them to join us for the telephone town hall to talk about wildfire, talk about PSPS. So that's at 6 o'clock. So you'll all get a call on June 25th at 6 o'clock. So hopefully you can jump on the call. So the specific enhancements for this year, Matt mentioned the outage map enhancements. That's going to be huge because people want to know, am I in that area? And so as soon as 7 days out, you'll be able to go to the map and see if you're in a potential PSPS area. We're doing a ton of education and outreach. We're reaching out to our medically vulnerable customers. We know there are a lot of them out there who have not identified themselves to Avista. And unless they call us and tell us they are, we don't know about them. So that's been a big push. And finally, setting up community resource centers. These would be stood up in brick and mortar locations around the area where the PSPS would happen to support the people that are going to have their power turned off. So they could come to a community resource center, charge their devices, get, ice, water, snacks, get information, just kind of hang out there. So that's something that we're working on standing up. And just overall encouraging everyone to be prepared. At the end of the day, we love to say that we're pretty good with reliability and the power is usually on, but it isn't always on. And we do encourage our customers to be prepared. So that is our presentation. Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, two that I have. I guess first off, I was looking at the outage map, and maybe I misunderstood. I didn't see where it showed the polygons of where the PSPS would be likely to occur.
It wouldn't show unless we're into that phase.
Well, but I assume we kind of have a sense of where those would be, right? I mean, is it the WUI essentially area?
Yeah,
Is that what
no,
we're talking about?
That's
or
a good question. So technically, we have decided that any feeder in our entire service territory, even if it's green, could be a PSPS, depending on what the weather conditions are showing us. But it's more likely that it's going to be in the WUI area, so those high fire threat tier areas, kind of the fringes of the city of Spokane, North Spokane County, pretty much most of Spokane County is pretty colorful.
I just think, especially for our constituents in the city, it would be great to be able to show a map that says, hey, in these areas, if you reside here, you're in an area that if it ever becomes necessary, it's a high likelihood of this action being taken. And I just think so people have a good heads up in advance would be helpful.
Okay.
My other question is on the undergrounding. You mentioned that you're doing. I'm just kind of curious around the cost and the process. I had pushed pretty hard to see Avista do some undergrounding in the area around what was at least once known as the 5 smartest blocks. And I'm not sure if that's still functionally the case, but the idea being you can't have this area that's supposed to be the 5 smartest blocks just littered with, ugly power lines and all that. Anyway, the reason I bring it up is it was told at the time that it'd be in the millions of dollars to underground, and it wasn't even that much infrastructure.
Right.
So I'm just kind of wondering, and I know it's rural, it's probably easier to do a lot of this, but what does that cost? And ultimately, does that cost then get borne by ratepayers? Does that get passed along? And so kind of the whole
Yes.
Avista region is subsidizing that undergrounding?
Right. Yeah, the cost of the wildfire plan is ratepayer-based. It's spread out over the whole 10 years. So what we're doing is we're starting to take some of that grid hardening funding and shifting it to strategic undergrounding. And so that project I described to you is a pilot project. So we're going to learn a lot this year from how that goes. I don't know, Matt, if you have anything to add.
I would just say that, Councilman, you nailed it. It is borne on the customers. We have looked for creative funding mechanisms with Department of Energy grant money that we have applied for in 2 separate rounds. We've actually got a very large grant that we're chasing to help subsidize this undergrounding work. And we do underground currently with new construction, but the conversion of existing overhead to underground is something new to us, which is one of the metrics we're testing with the 11-mile pilot down on the Palouse Highway.
So just one last follow-up. If that's the case, then are you guys also limiting, and to the extent law allows, I guess, limiting electrical access in certain areas? So if someone's doing a new development in a WUI area, are you telling them, sorry, that's adding to the issues, we're not going to provide service?
No, we just had this discussion last week with the electrical engineering team and myself, is that we're writing SOPs to make sure that that goes underground in these rural areas when developers come in, so that we're not adding to our risk profile by constructing new overhead lines. That would be new construction
For
underground.
residential development.
For residential development, yeah.
Okay.
And by state law, anybody within your territory, you must provide electricity to, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so it's not an option, you must, yeah. So I have a couple questions. So we are currently working on trying to schedule some time to see what it would look like to underground things throughout the city as part of maybe a much longer term plan. But really for me, I think the most shocking thing that you just said was that the windstorm was 2015. That's what's blowing my mind right now. That was 10 years ago. That's crazy.
Time flies.
Yeah. I had another question, but I forgot. So that's it.
No, it's a good question. I guess along that line too, and I think you mentioned that the shutoff is a last resort. I mean, I guess how much have we seen this deployed in other communities as a strategy to help mitigate this disaster?
So we have a version of this slide deck that has that. In California, it was used a little bit too often. I believe it was used as the primary method of risk mitigation. And so I think in 2018, there were 17 within the state of California, primarily in the San Diego area, as they were the first adopters of this kind of philosophy. And then it went up to 21 total incidents, 21 power shutdowns preemptively. In 2021, the California Public Utilities Commission made a mandate that said it cannot be your first option. And so Avista has always been ahead that way because we have the enhanced protection settings, which again, we feel like will be sufficient enough to protect the community during these high wind events. So how often do I think? In all of the model backcasting that I've done, we have approached the threshold from where we might take action. One time, that was in 2020 on the Labor Day storms at a feeder just south of, it actually feeds part of the city of Spokane, just below the South Hill on the South Hill Bluff.
Great. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much. This was really informative. Appreciate y'all making time today and coming down.
Thank you.
All right. And we'll close out with council reports. 1 second. All right. Municipal Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee. We've not met, but certainly there's been a lot of discussion around ARPA funds for CJS. Ad hoc Committee on Public Safety Levy. We have not met. That has been pulled.
Council Member Dillon, can you update us on the police chief search? That's going. Aren't you on that group?
Yeah, we are having interviews. Gosh, I want to say, was it in July? Next week? Yeah, coming right up. Thanks for that reminder. So we're having round 1 interviews on June 13th. Yep. And let's see, we got Police Advisory Committee. We met at the beginning of month. It was actually, a lot of the discussion was around the community safety levy, which was pulled the next day. Councilmember Cathcart, do you want to give an update around comps?
Yeah, nothing really to update. I think we've got another meeting come up next week. But the main conversation, or one of the big points of conversation at the last meeting, was on just the need for a new location for the Logan neighborhood. They had lost their lease a while back, and so trying to identify alternative locations where they might site. They've also been exploring some potential partnerships with Gonzaga and some other things, but that's kind of one of the main things in the works right now.
Great. Oh, there we go. And then, did not even see that up there. Okay, looks like we covered it all except for last but not least, Mr. Wright, Council Policy Advisor update.
Oh, my answer this time won't be no. So, as Mr. Byrd indicated, I've been involved in a little bit of discussions regarding council operations and some of those discussions over positions and hiring and so forth. You have a number of amendments on your agenda today. That's obviously what kept me busy last week. I think it's illustrating that we have more tweaking to do on our council rules in terms of how we handle amendments, particularly today when we have so many that are conflicting. So we'll be looking at that. I have projects for every single council member, I believe, in the queue. So that's kind of what I've been up to. So.
Bless you. Never a dull moment. Go ahead.
I guess I would ask why we need to adjust the council rules for amendments.
Because we don't talk about priority. Who gets to be heard first? You can resort to Roberts, but it's not a need fit. Because in order to be recognized first under Roberts, you have to stand up first and get the floor. We don't have a mechanism for that with our agenda. So I've been thinking about that, how do we address that? We could do simply first in, first out.
Yeah.
First
That makes sense.
to get their amendments in would be the first one considered. And that is part of the strategy this afternoon. Is if you got it in at 9:42, you're going to beat the one that made it at 9:46 Friday morning. So.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and I think that's, slightly more fair than, say, doing it based on how, complex the proposal is, because I'll just throw in a whole lot of language, make it real complex.
Well, but that's what Roberts provides on other kinds of amendments, is that if you are in what they call a filling the blank mode, the more complicated, the more expensive the proposal before the body, generally that's the one that's taken up first, and then you work your way down to the simpler ones. So that was also part of the rationale. You could overthink this quite a bit. So
I like first come, first serve. Make it easy.
Well, and even though it's in the agenda, it doesn't actually make it a motion yet. We still have to make motions. That's just our rule to make it public of what a potential amendment would be, and then we always still make the motion. So nuances.
yeah, so you would have to stand and be recognized first and say, I want my motion heard first, my amendment heard first. So
If we were to make a rule change that basically said that this is the priority, this is how they shall be considered by council, would that almost negate, though, the need for a motion? Because if you have a sponsor and a second, and you've laid it out in the rules that this is going to be heard as an amendment to this proposal, then do you actually have to?
We still need a motion, obviously. Even though it appears on the agenda, we still need a motion. And the question is, who gets to make that motion first on that particular amendment? So,
All right. Thank you, Chris. All right. Hearing nothing else for the good of order, we will adjourn Public Safety and Community Health. Our next meeting will be at 10 a.m. on July 8th. Thank you all so much.
10 a.m.
Complicated business of
The doubleheader.